Hello and welcome back to the latest episode of the Golf Ireland pod. I'm delighted to be your host, Stephen Murphy, bringing you all the latest action across Ireland and abroad for Golf Ireland golfers. Thank you as always for tuning in. We really do appreciate it, and once again we have a bumper show for you this week. And we have to start off with the biggest event, which was the AIG Irish Men's Amateur Close Championship, which took place at Malone Golf Club. And Castle golfer Rob Moran is your winner. He got over the line as he rolled in a 13-foot putt to seal the Close Championship, and it took until the third playoff hole of an epic battle with his good friend and reigning champion Quinton Carew, who was a guest on last week's podcast. An incredible defence of his championship, so well done to Quinton. But also a huge well done to Rob. Rob had a 4-shot lead on Sunday, late on Sunday after a strong turnaround, but Carew showed his experience and he battled hard to take the championship to extra holes. They went down 18 twice, but still couldn't be separated, and the playoff went up the par 3 12th, and Moran hit a beautiful 7-iron to a decent distance and sank the putt to secure that win. So again, another playoff that goes a couple of holes, just so tight. Another birdie to win one. So it wasn't easy for Rob. Jack Hearn and Quinton Carew were both piling on the pressure from the group behind, and a short par putt that went by on the 10th meant that Moran's lead was reduced to the minimum again. Quinton had a lot of opportunities to draw a level on 2 under, but he couldn't get it done. And Moran's bogey on 14 then was enough to lead the two match to the top of the leaderboard. But Moran had a sweet birdie on 16. He was back in the ascendancy with Carew failing to birdie any of his back 9, but he had to get up and down the 18th to rescue a playoff, and he did. So both players, when the pressure was on, played some incredible golf. But Rob Moran just comes out on top there, so a huge congratulations to him, and a huge congratulations to everyone at Malone. I know that the conditions were so tough, especially on the Saturday, and the course to be playable was even one thing, but to be in great condition that as it was, a huge congratulations to everyone there at Malone and everyone who took part. Another successful and great men's close there, so thank you, or so well done, should I say, to everyone there up at Malone. Moving on now as well to the Irish Senior Veterans Men and Women's Amateur Open Championship, which took place at Powerscourt Golf Club. Suzanne Corcoran and Alan Condren were crowned champions at the stroke play event, and 4-time Irish Senior Women's Amateur Close Championship Suzanne Corcoran claimed the Irish Senior Women's Amateur title to add to her already impressive list of victories. She shot a total of 8 over par for the 3 rounds to give her a 2-stroke victory over Gertie McMullen from the Island Golf Club. Suzanne, who's from Portumna, she came close to the title many times, but she finally got over the line in the rain at Powerscourt. So congratulations to Suzanne. Alan Condren made history as he became the inaugural champion of the Irish Senior Men's Amateur Close Stroke Play. The Greystowns golfer played some fantastic golf to shoot a total score of 10 under par, which is incredible shooting for the event, to give him a 6-shot victory over Galway Bay's Eddie McCormick. Eddie's always thereabouts as well. Fantastic event up at Powerscourt Golf Club. Huge congratulations to Suzanne and Alan, well-deserved champions, and a fantastic event overall. So well done to all involved. Turning our attention over to England, the Boys Amateur Championship and the Girls Amateur Championship was on. In the boys, Jack Murphy led the scoring after the stroke play, but unfortunately he lost in the first round of the match play. Fionn Dubbin unfortunately also lost in the first round. John Doyle fared a little bit better. He lost in round 2 of the match play, but Donnacha Cleary was the best of the Irish. He got to round 3, where he lost on the 21st hole, which is very disappointing. So well done to all the lads who headed over there and played so well. A valiant effort all the same. And the girls then, not as great a week for the girls, unfortunately. Caitlin Shipham and Anna Abom failed to qualify for the match play. And then of all the girls who did qualify, which was Marina Joyce Moreno, Kate Dillon, Olivia Costello and Emma Fleming, they all lost in the first round of the match play as well. So disappointing week for the girls, but still the competition is just so fierce. Absolutely no reason to be disappointed with that. They'll be back and better than ever, as we all know they will. Then even further afield in the US Amateur Championship was taking place, and Matt McLean, he qualified for the match play. He was the only Irishman to qualify, but unfortunately bowed out in the first round. By both Mark Power and Hugh Foley, who were taking part, missed the cut. But Well done to Matt McLean for qualifying. Again, the competition is just so tough there, so no disappointment there, bowing out in the first round. Then the ISPCS Handa World Invitational was also on. Both Max Kennedy and Jessica Ross were in the field due to their win at the Ulster Stroke Play. Max Kennedy played in the men's competition but unfortunately missed a cut, but well done to Max for qualifying. A great week overall. And Jessica Ross also was in the women's event, but unfortunately she also missed the cut, but still a great achievement for both there, so well done to both Max and Jessica for taking part in the ISPS Handa World Invitational. And finally, some big news. The Walker Cup squad was announced. 4 Irish golfers have been selected to compete against the United States of America in the 49th Walker Cup, which will take place at St Andrews. Alex Maguire, Matt McLean, Liam Nolan and Mark Power have all been selected, while Keelan Rafferty is a reserve, and this will take place between the 2nd and 3rd of September over in St Andrews. So just a huge achievement, a very, very proud day for all those golfers and their families, and absolutely well deserved. All players have been in fine form this year, and that reflects in their selection for the Walker Cup. So well done to all 4 lads to be included. I know we'll all be watching and supporting there for the 2nd and 3rd of September. So yeah, that will wrap up the recap portion. I'll now throw it over to my conversation with David Shiel. Now delighted to be joined by David Shiel here, who's taken time out of his day to join us here on the Golf Ireland pod for a chat. David, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
No problem. Thanks a million for having me, Stephen. Yeah, all good.
Good.
Great, thanks.
Good. You're a few days out now from playing at Malone in the AIG Irish Close. First of all, how's the body? How's the mind? Are you recovered?
Yeah, it was a tough, grueling few days. All right, we got bad weather the first day, obviously, and it is a brute of a course. In fairness, great track. We were all discussing that, but you can become undone very quickly, I think we all found. So yeah, it was tough. Definitely, I think the scoring indicates 1 under. I think was the playoff. It was a tough test. So yeah, but well recovered now. Looking forward to the next few weeks ahead.
Yeah, look, it was a decent finish. By no means was a bad week for you. How do you look back on the week, after a couple of days, taking some time to look back on it?
Yeah, I think it was okay. Definitely disappointed overall with the finish, but maybe how do I look back? A week that could have been a lot better, I would say. First day got drowned, to be fair, out in the morning round, so that was a bit of a battle just to hang on and stay alive, really. Second day played lovely, was almost bogey free up against the root of a tree on the 18th, but yeah, played lovely. And then just on the Sunday, didn't have my game at all. It was just pretty much a bad day at the office, and that led to bad scoring, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, could have. I guess one day it's like that with the 72 holders. We have 36 in the last day. That's such a big swing factor in the whole thing. If the 36 holes maybe had been the Saturday with the way I hit it, probably would have been a lot better. But yeah, it was a very exciting one. Stayed for the playoff. It was a great finish. Unbelievable defence by Quentin, in fairness. And a great win for Rob. Well deserved, maybe long overdue. I played him in 2021 in the penultimate group when he had to put to win it on the 72nd hole there. So delighted for Rob, well deserved. Like, he's been such a strong contender, and it was a great birdie he got on the par 3. Like, that's a tough hole, so to win it with a 2 there, I think I saw Quentin said that as well. Look, if he loses a 2-2 there, that's just desserts, in fairness, for Rob. So fair play to Rob.
Yeah, I think the BMW Championship there, even when Victor Hovland won it there with a 61, I think Matt Fitzpatrick said, look, there's not much you can do about that, so a lot of these playoff holes in different tournaments are being won by birdies. The quality, especially in those pressurised situations, is so impressive. But you mentioned the conditions and how tough they were. How different is your approach when playing in those kind of conditions, more so than like a more placid day?
I love the tough conditions, to be honest. I grew up playing all my golf as a kid in Enniscrone, I guess, in horrendous weather. So I learned that from an early age. So the bad weather definitely suits me well. I guess it was just maybe a little bit unfortunate. It wasn't as consistently bad, I think, over the whole day, from what I believe, in terms of rain and stuff like that. So how do I prepare? You got to play the percentages, I think, in terms of even just have you got your bag ready for that? Have you got enough towels, gloves? You can't. I don't think you can, with the margins, with how good these young lads that I'm trying to play against anyway are. You can't really leave any margin out there. So you got to just. I always try and make sure I'm well ready for getting drowned and have all the right towels and equipment and, as I said, gloves and everything to be ready for it. But you've got to try and embrace it. You've got to go out knowing it's going to be a tough day, and the whole challenge of the day is the grind and trying to get a score together. And I kind of love that bit of it too. So that's how I mentally try and prepare for it, let's say.
Do you take? I always wonder this. Do you take great satisfaction then from when you have a decent round in those conditions, more so than maybe, is a 5 under on a calm day as satisfying as maybe like a 1 under on a really tough day?
No, I don't think so. I certainly like it when it's really tough. Even like if you look every year that I've been playing the West, I love those last 5 holes because they're generally into the teeth of the wind, and it's like, can you get through them and level? And that's, I think, the satisfaction in that is huge. Better than, I think, going into a stretch of 5 holes, you got 2 par 5s and try and play them 1 or 2 under. So, yeah, I think maybe it's a bit narcissistic or whatever, but I do like the battle of trying to get a level par score out of awfully tough conditions.
I think all golfers are a little bit narcissistic, David. I think we're all sick in the head at some stage. Otherwise, we wouldn't play this game. Otherwise, you spoke very highly of the course in Malone. I know a lot of the golfers were praising it. What stood out to you of that course that just made it so good?
I mean, the number one thing was, I don't know how the course was playable on the Saturday. Like, I was getting woken up every 45 minutes with the rain and the wind on Friday night, and I was just sweating on it, thinking, for God's sake, they're going to have to call it, and I'm sitting on 4 over. I'm going to miss the cut by a shot. But then to get there, like I said it to the organisers and to Mark, I think the next day, like, it was just unbelievable how that course played pretty much as it did on the Friday on that Saturday. So that, without a doubt, was the standout kind of impressiveness of what they were able to do. Course itself, though, was really, really good. Even just talking to Matt, watching the playoff, like, it's tough. It can catch you out. He's got to drive the ball really well. A couple of the holes, they put us right on the tips, like on the 14th and things like that, are just really, really good golf holes. So yeah, I was really, really, really impressed with it. It's probably right up there with the Parkland courses I've played in the championships on, for sure.
Brilliant. You already mentioned that you liked the tough conditions. Looking back to your win last year at the Connacht Men's Mid-Am in Athlone, definitely blustery conditions back then, and you came from behind to get the win. Did you believe you could still win that even when you were a couple of holes into that final round? Is there always that belief there when it comes to your level of golf?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably hard to know. Like, to be honest, in terms of actually winning it, it probably didn't set in until 16, 17 in the third round. It was outrageously difficult that week. I think anyone who would play would say that. I think the 10th hole was par 3, and I remember telling someone after that, can't remember what it was. It might have been 180 yards or 175 yards or something like that. But I hit a 4-iron anyway, I remember, on the Saturday, and caught it kind of fadey up, spinny into the air. But I had 70 yards or 60 yards left or something, I remember, out short right. And I think that really summed it up how windy it was.
Short par 4.
Yeah. And we got drowned as well, even on the final day, particularly at the start. They did really well as well in Athlone to get the course playable for the final round. And then in terms of winning, I mean, I hung on at the very end on the Saturday. I remember I got up and down 3 or 4 times in the last 3 or 4 holes, even one of them for a bogey to kind of just about hang on. And it might have been in the third last group or something like that. I had 2 bogeys, I think, early on as well, and just kept plodding away and got a couple of birdies to get back into. I remember on the 15th then, I was playing with Niall, who's originally from Athlone as well, and Tommy O'Connor was playing behind us in the final group, I think, and was probably the favourite, I guess, his home course. He's a really good player, and hearing that he was a couple off the lead, I remember someone saying to Niall when we came off 15, I remember thinking, you never know then, because I was under par, I think, for the round. And then that 16th, I think, ultimately just cost Kieran, because OB right and left. I just decided to hit 2-iron, left a big, long second shot, but got the par. And then I remember tossing him up between the 18th and saying that there was trouble on the 16 for the leader or whatever. So yeah, I didn't really realize until then. You just gotta, again, it was really tough conditions. You're just trying to grind out the score, as I talked about there a few minutes ago, and if it ends up being enough, brilliant. So I think I don't know if anyone else was under par that week. I think that was the kind of key thing on the Sunday.
Is entering a final round like that when you're a couple of shots back, does it almost free you up a little bit? When you look at a tournament like that, is finishing in the top 5 or top 10, it's obviously nice, but are you guys just going out there to win, and you're not kind of afraid to maybe risk it a little bit more in terms of protecting a place maybe?
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, I'd love to have been in more kind of final groups, whatever, to experience that. I've been kind of close this year to the final groups, but not quite there. So yeah, starting those final rounds, like maybe in the East this year or the Irish Am, when I was not a million miles away, you are probably thinking you got to get under par. And I did that in the East. I think it was 3 under through 6, and I had a bit of a catastrophe on the 7th then, which kind of writes you off. Unfortunately, you just got to regroup and think about as strong a finish as you can then if you've drifted too far behind. But if there's anything I've learned, I'm only playing these championships the last 2 or 3 years, is you watch the guys who are, competing week in, week out, and they're very, very aggressive, and they're taking drivers on. They're looking for very strong reasons why not to hit a driver in every hole. So I guess that's something I'm trying to work on as well, is be that bit more aggressive when I can. Especially though, as you said, when you're in a couple of shots back situation as opposed to trying to hang on. Like it's so kind of spoken about in pro golf, but certainly as well at our level, is that it's so hard to win. And even if you have a couple of shot lead, if there's anything I've learned, is make sure you chase the guy who's second, because you just never know what's going to happen to the guy who's leading because of the pressures that come with trying to just get it over the line. So
no, that's fascinating stuff. You also recently represented Ireland at the men's home international teams last week. First of all, just how proud are you to be on that team?
Yeah, amazing. It was unbelievable to qualify for the team and get selected to go. Not something that I would have thought about a year ago, and certainly not something I would have thought about 3 years ago. So yeah, incredibly proud. Like, I mean, I guess it was done through the order of merit and the consistency that kind of has come with that. So I guess in some way it's kind of a payoff for hard work. I put in endless effort, I guess, over the last 2 or 3 years in my golf. So very proud to get that. Really sickened to lose by half a point, to be brutally honest, because brilliant to have gone first experience of that and to get a win. And ultimately I lost my match against England as well. So knowing that had I done something different, we would have won is pretty hard to take. But at the same time, it was brilliant experience, like playing in a team with some absolutely phenomenal players, a couple of which are going to be playing the Walker Cup now this year is a brilliant honour in its own right. To be playing in Niall's team with some of those guys was a great moment for me. But definitely want to try and do that again and win whilst doing it. But yeah, even like some of the quality of the players that are playing in the tournament, some of the players I played against, Walker Cup panelists, top couple of hundred in the world, some young kids who are definitely going to go on to big things, I would say, was great. And just to see them, like the guy I played from England, Matthew, was really, really strong. We played that on the final day, the Friday, in a strong wind, and he had one bogey for 17 holes. It was really, really hard to get any holes out of him. You've got to make birdies. I think I managed to make 4 birdies, whatever, but just too many drop shots cost you holes because he wasn't dropping shots even in the wind. So it was a great experience. Like, I learned an awful lot that week about, those style of matches and that type of quality of golf, and about myself, and just, I guess, how much that meant to try and compete and do everything to try and get points for Ireland. Yeah.
We hear a lot about people who play team golf that it creates a really deep bond with your teammates. Is that something that you found?
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't have known actually quite a lot of the guys before I went. I would have played, I think, probably only with Mark and Keelan, I think, before we went. And so, got to play with a couple of them, and to actually spend a bit of time with them, get to know them, was great. would have played with Rob as well, of course. But then, yeah, I mean, it is. You can tell, like, those guys have played together in teams for years, pretty much all of them, I would say, and some brilliant characters and some great crack was had over the days. And you can see the kind of bond that they have and from having played together and, you know, battled it out for each other before. And it's something that I would have had a lot of for years playing football, and I've definitely missed over the last 2 or 3 years, and really, you know, chomping at the bit to get more team golf in this individual sport that it is, because it is a great, you know, addition to be battling for not just yourself but for others too at the same time.
You were also selected for the Connacht Men's Interpros team. That takes place next Tuesday, the 29th, in Moy Valley Golf Club. Can you give us, for people who are maybe not familiar with that competition, can you give us a little backdrop on that?
Yeah, so not something I've played before myself, actually, so can't wait to do that next week. But in terms of how it works, actually something like caddied in the Interpros in Enniscrone when I was maybe 12, I think. So I've been around it. But yeah, we've got the 4 provinces there, and there's one province versus another province each day. You've got morning foursomes followed by afternoon singles. So 8-man team. 4 foursomes matches in the morning, so everyone's playing in the morning, and then I think seven singles in the afternoon. So yeah, goes head to head, and I think they follow through depending on which team beats which team in the first rounds of matches. Then ultimately to have, depending on results, obviously the 2 teams that are gunning for it head to head on the last day.
The 36 holes a day, I don't think, again, I've said it before in this podcast, I don't think it's something that people think about enough when they talk about elite amateur golf. Yeah. Do you have a strategy for 36 holes in a day? Is it trying to keep as even keel as possible so there's not a lot of ups and downs, or is it just take it as the day comes?
Yeah, I think any of the lads who played with me in the 36 holders will know the strategy, which is definitely try and keep it consistent. I prepare all my own food, and I'll have my omelette in the morning round on the course, and then I'll have my lunchbox for the afternoon round. So I try and just manage the energy. That's something I learned from playing football through the 90 minutes. You got to manage your energy. So when I was playing golf casually and not paying much attention to what I was eating or doing, playing golf casually in the summers, I realize now when I switch my attention to it that I want to take a more structured approach to it. So yeah, I mean, you have to pace yourself 36 holes. You don't want to even get too emotionally high or low, because, you know, if something bad happens in the 3rd or 4th hole in the first round, like the East is a good example for me this year on the 7th hole in the final day. You know, you've got an awful lot of golf to play after that, so you've just got to park it and move on. You've got all the holes to come after that. So yeah, I think it's mindset and energy. It's so important. I think it's often really overlooked in golf of how much energy you need. Like you're going out for big walks. I know friends of mine who came to the home internationals and never would have stepped foot in the golf course before, saying they couldn't believe how knackered they were after walking around the course. So you're doing that twice a day. You've got to manage both your emotional and physical energy levels, because otherwise either could catch up with you. And I've seen it happen where people's physical energy fades and they kind of fall off in the last 6 holes or so of the day. And for me, it's about trying to focus a lot of attention on any of those margins. How can I remove a variable, as I would talk about? And so that's why I concentrate very closely on what I consume over the course of the day to keep my energy levels consistent.
Is it something that you feel any amateur, even playing 18 holes, especially at the lower levels, do you think it's something that is overlooked?
Absolutely, 100%. Like, that's where it came from for me. So when I, you know, up until 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I would have played my golf in the summers, not even hit a warm-up shot or whatever, just gone out. I was playing off 3, that kind of thing. And when I was playing my football, I was really conscious of what I'd eat in the morning, and depending on whether we had 11 o'clock kickoff or 1 o'clock kickoff, I'd manage my intake accordingly. And then I'd go and play golf in the summers, and I'd have a fry in the morning before I go out, massively dehydrate myself, have a 500ml bottle of water or whatever, and then have a banana and pull it out in the 17T and eat it, and then get the energy boost when I'm sitting in the clubhouse after. It's kind of just not really thinking it through in any way, shape or form. But that absolutely rings true for someone off a mid-handicap, single figures, high handicap. Of you're out for 4 hours or whatever, you're walking a significant amount, you've got to kind of manage the energy, or else your body's not going to react or perform the way you want it to. So that's something I have learned and have taken quite strictly, I guess, or stringently over the last couple of years as I've been playing the championships, which I'm sure has saved me shots for sure.
Yeah, even for my level, I think it 100%. And I've been bad for this as well, where you head out, you don't have anything in the bag with you, and then 16, 17, you just hit a wall and you can't, you lose about 20 yards off the drive. So definitely worth looking into that for people listening at home. You're also sit atop, David, the Bridgestone Order of Merit. When you see your name at the top of that list, is it just kind of a real confirmation of a good solid year that you're having?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, I've made all the cuts. I wasn't able to play Mullingar because we weren't able to with the homes. So it's been 9 championships. I've played 8 of them. I've made all 8 cuts. I think the 2 stroke plays I didn't get points. You have to be top 16 or so for that. But it is, yeah. I mean, even as the season progresses and you are knocking around the top edges of it, it's on your mind too. Like, so even playing those stroke plays, you got to be top 16. I basically had 2 bad 9 holes in both of those. I think the last 9 holes in Clandy really cost me, and the front 9 in the final round in Portumna. Portumna's a brute as well. You got 36 holes, 2 days. Great course, but brute of a format, let's say. So yeah, you got to battle out for top 16 of those to get points. So that is on your mind, I guess, when you're up there. If you're not up there in the Order of Merit, maybe you're just playing to try and finish as high as you can, and it's not on your mind at all, which that's the demons you got to battle. But I think, yeah, being up there is phenomenal. It's, very, very happy with it. It's quite fulfilling for the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes to try and get ready for the tournaments. There's been a lot of pain points, even though it seems great to be sitting up there. Like, the West is a big pain point for me, losing in the last 16 first round match there, where I just didn't perform for 4 holes in the middle of it. And then, things like the East where you're close, but then kind of rule yourself out with a bad hole. The Irish Amateurs a little bit disappointed and slipped down in the last couple of holes. So, like, there's still good finishes. You get good points. Would I take a win over all of that? Possibly. Certainly of one of the big ones. So I'd love to be in contention, consistently again for the rest of this year and next year, and try and get up to the winning spot in one of them for sure. But yeah, being on top is definitely a good reward for our hard work, I guess.
Brilliant. We'll finish up, David, with, people might think you're a very busy man already with all the golf that you're playing. You've also started your own company in the past weeks or months. Can you give us a bit of information on that?
Yeah, so I started my own company a couple of years ago, and working full time at that, I guess. Well, that's kind of one of the pleasures of playing in the tournaments, is you're playing against the younger guys who might be in college in the US or in college in Maynooth and the likes, or even just under 18 and coming through, and they're kind of at it full time. And it's like, that's an extra challenge of how do you compete with that? How do you find the time to get your practice done between work? So I love that angle of it too. And I think probably a lot of the guys who are working, I know that was a talking point before last weekend about the close change of format. Match play suited the working men, and Quentin showed, well, do you know what? I can do it in match play and I can do it in stroke play too. So yeah, I started my own business 2 years ago, which is nice, obviously, in terms of flexibility for being able to arrange the calendar around the tournaments. And yeah, we've had a busy couple of months. We've just launched our first product to market there about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So our company is all analytics. We're all from an analytics background and model building and that kind of thing. And we've just come at our own products, kind of left the field where we spotted an opportunity in the home building energy space. So we got in touch with the SEAI about the database of BUR ratings in the country, and we've actually built a whole web infrastructure for people to try and understand where their homes might be deficient from an energy perspective and costing them too much in energy bills, and to be able to upgrade them and avail of the grants and support that are out there from big companies, or grants from the government and big companies who can help support you with materials or loans and the likes. So we've got an online platform now called yourretrofit.ie, where homeowners can come on. If they have a copy of their energy bill, we can pull their BER file for them with their consent, and we've built the whole infrastructure to kind of handhold them through the process of what they might be able to do to the house, how much it would cost. We've got some great partners on the site, the likes of Chadwick's from the building supply, FBD from an insurance perspective, to give discounts and support to try and help homeowners to figure out how to undertake a retrofit, because we can show you the financials and the payback periods of how much of a benefit it can be for you in the long run. And also you're playing your part in the government's climate action plan, where they have huge targets to improve the energy performance of the housing stock, because it does cost us too much in terms of fossil fuel consumption. So yeah, we've just launched that a couple of weeks ago. We're in the process of onboarding more partners now, with the view to getting much more centrally focused in the market and to kind of be a cornerstone for people. It's free to use. The homeowner can use it for free. If you have an energy bill and a BER rating, you can just go on to yourretrofit.ie and upload that, and we pull your file straight away. If you don't have a BER yet, we have a model in there. When you answer a couple of quick questions about the house, we'll give you a prediction of what the house might be, and then we'll start the process of introducing you to those who can perform the rating and help you to understand where to start about improving the energy efficiency of the house. So yeah, it's a very exciting time, and it is a busy time to try and manage all of that alongside playing the golf calendar.
Definitely. No, well, look at on and off the course, analytics very, very important for all facets of your life, David, I'm sure. But that's brilliant. We wish you nothing but the best of luck with that on and off the course as well. David, look, we've kept you long enough. Thank you so much for taking your time out to chat to us here in the Golf Ireland pod. We've really enjoyed it, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
No problem, Stephen. Absolute pleasure. Thanks very much for having me on.
And thank you again to David Shiel for joining us there. Absolutely brilliant conversation with David. He has one of those brains that I could just pick all day. Really, really, really great attitude towards golf, which is always great. A look ahead to the upcoming events, which is taking place the upcoming week. We'll start off with the underage interprovincial matches, which is the boys under 18s, under 16s and under 14s, and the girls under 18s. This is taking place at Ballykistine. This actually started on Monday, the 21st, and runs until the 25th. So you can check online or Golf Ireland socials there for scores. Kicking off tomorrow is the Munster's Veterans Men's Open, which takes place at Castlemartyr. So best of luck to everyone taking part in that. Later then is the 27th of August is the Ulster Over 18 Women's Amateur Open Championship. This takes place at Tandragee Golf Club. This was rescheduled from August 6th, which is supposed to be at Warren Point Golf Club. So that's taking place now on the 27th. So best of luck to everyone taking part in that. And then also on the 29th of August to the 31st of August, we have our interprovincial matches, which is what David was mentioning there in our chat. This is men's and women's interprovincial matches and takes place at Moy Valley Golf Club, which is a great golf course. I played there myself, and definitely if you can get down to that, by all means do. And as always, you can keep up to date with these scores if you can't go in person on Golf Ireland socials pages. Also, in other news, I want to give a shout out to the Golf Ireland First Tee team, which is Valerie Wheeler, Lorraine Keane, and Pamela Joyce. They'll all be taking part, should I say, in the Pro-Am of the KPMG Irish Women's Open. That takes place in Dromoland Castle on the 31st of August, all the way through to the 3rd of September. So there's been a great series following both Valerie's, Lorraine's, and Pamela's sort of journey now to this first team in the Pro-Am. So definitely worth checking that out if you haven't. And best of luck to them in the Pro-Am. I'm sure they will be nervous. And also keep an eye out for today, the latest Slice of Life piece with our very own Dara Small. He'll be chatting to Cork golf influencer Kim O'Neill. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a great piece. And finally then some personal news. I want to wish a best of luck to Harry Connaughty. Harry Connaughty is captain at Belturbet Golf Club back home where I'm from. We all played that course growing up as well. So Harry has been a fantastic captain this year. I'll be taking part in the Captain's Prize this weekend as well. So wish me the best of luck, and hopefully I'll be back next week to talk about how we won the crown and took home the championship. But yeah, best of luck to Harry and everyone involved at Belturbet Golf Club this week. And yeah, that wraps it up for me this week. Thank you again for listening. We really appreciate it. We'll be back next week as always to recap all the action and another great interview. So thank you.